Viewers, the blowback of a massive controversy is being felt across the length and breadth of Tamil Nadu. DMK Minister Senthil Balaji was arrested, and now the Chief Minister of the state is being dragged into the entire case, which relates to alleged kickbacks in the exchange for jobs in the transport department. We are now being told by some elements in the opposition in Tamil Nadu that the Chief Minister of the state wants to protect Mr. Balaji, his minister, who had crossed over from the AIDMK, because he could spill the beans on larger secrets and improprieties. Viewers, today former Chief Minister, as I said, of Tamil Nadu, Eddapaddi, Palaniswamy, launched a scathing attack on Mr. Stalin, the Chief Minister, and said that Senthil is a sort of middleman. Of course, viewers, the DMK has been suing people who have been making charges against them, left, right, and center. The DMK chief's visit, and of course the Chief Minister's visit to the hospital to meet Senthil Balaji, was also branded as an act of desperation by the former. Why? Because, viewers, the Chief Minister doesn't want to antagonize Mr. Balaji for the fear that he might spill the beans. Spill the beans. Of course, viewers, even the BJP has latched on. The BJP has latched on. Yes, viewers. Thank you so much, Mr. Annamalai, for speaking to me and speaking to Times Now. As you know, here on this show, we always ask the questions that matter the most and that are at the center of this entire very large controversy. So, Mr. Annamalai, I first want you to set the context by explaining why the Enforcement Directorate, on whose authority, is investigating this DMK minister.
Thank you so much for having me in your show, sir. I'll just take a couple of minutes to run you through the case. 2014, when Mr. Senthil Balaji was the transport minister in the previous government. So the case against him was that for the recruitment of conductors and mechanic for the Tamil Nadu State Transport Corporation, that he has received money from the prospective candidates, and then the appointment was made. So 2018, 13 people who didn't get the job despite paying the cash to Senthil Balaji, PA and his brother, they filed an FIR against him, which was investigated. His office was raided then by the State Vigilance Department, Department of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption. Then a charge sheet was filed against Mr. Senthil Balaji in the courts for, special courts for MPs and MLAs. So in the course of the investigation, the state police in the charge sheet has mentioned money laundering also. A part of the money was swindled, which has gone out of the country. Then the Enforcement Directorate came into play. Based on the charge sheet that was submitted in the court by the state police, the Enforcement Directorate came over, took over the case. Then the investigation was on with a separate FIR filed by the ED. Later, after the DMK government came to power in May 2021, very funnily, May 2021 they came to power. In the month of July, a group of complainants who are the original complainants in the original FIR in 2018, they all came together and said, yes, we have paid money to Mr. Senthil Balaji and his team. He has returned back the money to us in 2019. So we have struck a compromise petition. We have agreed for a compromise. So they all filed a compromise petition in the Madras High Court, stating that he has taken money, he has given back, so we are withdrawing the case against him, which was filed 28th July 2021. Within 2 days, the Madras High Court gave a judgment accepting the compromise petition by saying it is fine. You have paid money, you have taken back the money, we agree. The FIR and the charge sheet stands quashed. This is very, very peculiar order by the Madras High Court. This is immediately after DMK coming to power. Then 4 more candidates who did not get job in the same recruitment process in 2014, they approached the Supreme Court against the High Court's order saying, look, the High Court has given an order like this, quashing the charge sheet, which is unnatural, which is against the principle of natural justice. The Supreme Court, in a very fantastic learned order, about 6-7 months back, it said, the High Court order is erroneous. A public servant taking money itself means the act of corruption is committed. There is no question of returning back the money. The High Court has made a serious error of judgment in accepting this compromise petition. The FIR and the charge sheet, whatever is quashed, is reinstated. The local police can investigate further and file an additional charge sheet. This is the Supreme Court 6-7 months back. The Tamil Nadu State Police, which was investigating the case, did not even move a stone for 6 months. Because in Tamil Nadu, the Chief Minister also happens to be the Police Minister, also happens to be the Home Minister. We don't have a separate Home Minister. Since it directly comes under his department, the police were not made to act. Then again the 4 petitioners approached the Supreme Court going for a contempt of court order saying, it's 6 months now, not even a single stone is moved in Supreme Court in Tamil Nadu. The Supreme Court 2 weeks back, it gave a very strong order. It said, in 2 months' time, if you don't file an additional charge sheet, invoking the provisions of Prevention of Corruption Act against Mr. Sendil Balaji, the Supreme Court itself will take over the investigation by constituting a special investigation team. So 2 weeks later, now you are seeing the action. Now why Enforcement Directorate action now? 2019 also they took action, they filed an FIR, they summoned Sendil Balaji and others. They refused to take the summons, they refused to go and attend the ED questioning. They also, after Stalin government has come to power in May 2021, Sendil Balaji and the other 3 accused, his brother is one accused, his PA is one accused, a middleman is another accused, 4 people. They went to the Chennai High Court, they got a stay against the proceedings of ED. So ED also went to Supreme Court parallelly, they got that stay vacated, now ED is acting. So for the last 2 years, ED's hands were tied by the Madras High Court for not taking any action. Now ED has come, since he is not cooperating, not taking the summon, and Supreme Court has given 2 months time to file the PCA by the state crime branch police, now ED is taking action. I don't see anything wrong in this, sir. Now to brush our memory further also, sir, in 2016, 18th April, when Mr. Stalin, as opposition leader, visited Karur, Mr. Sendil Balaji's hometown, he addressed the press and spoke to a large public saying, in this transport job scam, Sendil Balaji is accused number 1. Immediately action should be taken against him. The same Mr. Stalin, as opposition leader, in 2016 he wanted action. Now 7 years later, in the same case, when action is being taken, now he is supporting Sendil Balaji as an innocent. Second, when Mr. Stalin makes an allegation that ED coming into the state secretariat, going to Mr. Sendil Balaji's chamber and searching for documents, he says it's an assault on federal democracy. When the income tax people went into Tamil Nadu secretariat, Chief Secretary's chamber in December 2016 in Tamil Nadu, Stalin as opposition leader welcomed that. He said, though IT comes under central government, it has got a separate law and separate set of officers. They entering Chief Secretary's chamber means there is some incriminating document. I welcome this move. Now 7 years later, same Narendra Modi ji, same government, now ED is acting, he is calling this as an assault on federal democracy.
Okay, apart from this flip-flop, let's just focus on what happened prior to 20th July 2021 or prior to May 2021. The AIDMK was an ally of the BJP. This is a known fact. Why wasn't this case prosecuted in earnestness back then, sir? The charge that is today being made by the opposition is that the ED doesn't go after individuals who are either part of the BJP ecosystem or are within the BJP and are corrupt. They only wait when that same leader crosses over, then they go after that. How do you answer this?
Sir, in 2014, the alleged incident happened, that is when the scam happened. 2018, when ADMK was in power, the second term of ADMK, the consecutive second term, during the ADMK government, the FIR was filed against Mr. Sendil Balaji because the complainants have come forward then. Then 2019, again when the ADMK was in power, the charge sheet was filed. It's a different matter that Senthil Balaji has shifted from ADMK to DMK. That's a different matter. I'm not getting into it. But right when the complainant came in ADMK's government, FIR was filed, charge sheet was also promptly done. Then ED also came in promptly. So ED also gave him summons at that point of time. And again, they were also making the same allegations even before the 2021 assembly elections. When Stalin ji was campaigning also, the issue was being raked up in Tamil Nadu at that point of time. So all I can answer, sir, if you look at the chronology of events, this case is a very peculiar case.
No, 1 second.
A lot of legal hurdles were created by Mr. Senthil Balaji and his team.
I understand that. But all I'm asking is, why wasn't the same application shown by the AIDMK government, an ally of the BJP, in the time period between, let's say, 2016 or 2018 and 2021 that we are seeing today? Where was the ED? Why wasn't it in this case even then? Can you explain that, sir?
Sir, as you very well know, sir, this case, the typical case in 2018 was more about cheating, 420. ED was not into it when the FIR was filed. When the state police investigated and filed a charge sheet, there the state police mentioned about money laundering that has happened outside the country. Then the ED was notified, then ED came in 2019, separate FIR was filed, and then ED took over the case. So if you look at it, sir, logically, the timelines match. It is not that he was in some party, ADMK was in government, ED came late. ED can only come in prima facie when ED finds something. ED found something only after 4 years after the state government filed a charge sheet. Till then it was not ED's case. Then ED came in. Then the action by ED was stopped. So now any opposition party friends accusing BJP of selectively witch hunting, they have to understand this case has gone through a certain chronological process. It is not that ED suddenly woke up in 2021, they came and took action. Now answering your previous question, connecting, sir. Now why did we go to Supreme Court? Somebody went to Supreme Court. When the case got stayed, till then the case was alive. The charge sheet was filed in the special court of law by which the action has to be taken, the summons have to come. After DMK came to power, they stopped it by quashing it in High Court. Then 4 new people who don't have any connection to this case.
No, I understand that.
In 2021,
I understand
in August, they came on their own, they went to Supreme Court.
No, I understand that, but the reason they came in because a compromise, and I would say a suspicious compromise was struck, and at that time, sir, the AIDMK was in power. So you could say that there was some enabling circumstance that allowed for this compromise, which of course the Madras High Court later upheld and the Supreme Court questioned. Today your party is in alliance with the same AIDMK where this man enjoyed a stint while he was allegedly involved in corruption as transport minister. Do you not see that as a contradiction and a problem?
Sir, the compromise got struck after DMK came to power, sir. DMK came to power in May 2021. In July, the 13 complainants, they struck a compromise, which I clearly believe it was facilitated by the DMK government only. Facilitated by, because the Advocate General was arguing. And the DMK's Rajya Sabha MP, Mr. Wilson, he was facilitating the whole thing. The whole case, if you see the DMK's very powerful legal lobby, they took over the case in July. They tried everything possible to settle the case. Advocate General himself, it's very peculiar, sir. Normally when you struck a compromise petition, the Advocate General need not accept it. But the Advocate General of DMK accepted that, fronted it in the court of law, did not object from the government side, concurred with the accused. Thereby, it's a very peculiar case. The government itself supported the stand of Senthil Balaji and the accused in the High Court, whereby this compromise petition was also unfortunately accepted by the High Court of Madras, sir.
Okay, so you're putting the entire blame of affecting the compromise not on anyone else except for the DMK, saying that these movements only happened after the DMK came to power. Okay, so we are to expect now that the charge sheet that was filed, the case and the investigation that was going on, had this compromise not been struck, would have led to some sort of an arrest or perhaps the building of a case which would have led to Mr. Senthil Balaji ending up convicted of this particular matter. Okay, let's just continue to stick with a couple of things that I'm interested in, because the opposition says, and this is a valid charge, that the BJP has double standards when it comes to corruption. There are different standards for people who are in the opposition, and there are different standards for people who are within their own ranks. Now, I just want to very quickly read out a couple of facts, and this is important. In April 2019, the ED attached properties linked to Balaji worth 316 crores, and this was rather not Mr. Balaji, but YS Chaudhary. Sorry, Mr. YS Chaudhary, who is, of course, a leader in another state. He's not in your state. You probably know of him. He was with the TDP then. In November 2018, your party colleague GVL Narasimha Rao writes a letter to the Parliamentary Ethics Committee saying, and I quote him, "The case of YS Chaudhary is even more dangerous as his business operations remain shady and it seems thousands of crores have been borrowed using political clout and patronage," unquote. He is now in your party and the ED probe against him continues. He was summoned by the ED in August 2022. But, sir, your moral ground on corruption appears to have been diluted.
Sir, I don't want to really get into a very specific case because I'm just going with the timelines of what you say. But as a proud Karyakarta of BJP, I can very proudly say that this party is a very different party when we take on corruption. We are there for the common man. Now, when we allege something to ED saying the timeline is not matching, why it was not summoned now, why 6 months the summon was stayed, I don't think that is a correct way of looking at things or approaching. The opposition friends have to understand, sir, even if it is ED, there is court above ED. And any person who is getting arrested, be it Manish Sisodia or Satyendra Jain or be it Senthil Balaji, it has to stand the judicial scrutiny. Every single case, it is standing judicial scrutiny. Now they are selectively accusing that why not some BJP ministers arrested, why not? When there is an evidence, when it has come to the knowledge of it, definitely they will do. It is for the opposition also to unearth scam. The opposition parties can very well call for a press conference, including BJP, if they found
so
something
what the opposition specifically says,
but in all this case, including against Mr. Dilpal.
No, I respect the fact that you are today allowing me to ask some of the inconvenient questions, and this only goes to show that you are perhaps one of those BJP leaders who is very well prepared. So I just want to ask you, the opposition constantly says that when the ED gets after you, it is the process which is worse than the punishment. That nothing eventually comes out of it. A large number of people are dredged through, the dirt. Their image is damaged. Their careers are over. They are sapped of energy. They are intimidated. And they support this by suggesting that the conviction rate for cases that have gone to trial, says the ED, is 96%. But since 2005, of the 5,906 cases filed, 25 cases have only gone to trial. You know that in India that the process is the punishment, as I have been saying. The conviction rate of the ED then compared with cases registered is around 0.5% since 2014. 121 politicians have been under the probe of the ED, of which the arrested, raided and questioned include 115 opposition leaders. This is what they are worried about. They are saying, okay, investigate Senthil Balaji, no problems. But also investigate those that are corrupt in your ranks.
Sir, now we all know ED is a very tough act. Among all the acts that we have in our country, ED is a very, very, very tough act. We all know it is brought in for a very specific purpose. Especially money laundering is a very tough one to prove, sir, among all cases. If you look at CBI, it handles a different kind of cases. Conviction rate is much better than the state police. Even in opposition, whatever state police we all have, our ruling party, CBI is much better. When we come benchmark it to CBI, the NIA and the ED's conviction rates are much better. But we have to argue, ED is a very specific act because many of these cases that we deal, you have very shell companies, abroad companies, it takes time. You gather evidence piece by piece, you assemble it together. So I'm not defending anything for the sake of defending, sir, since I was also a police officer for about 9.5 years. So ED per se is a tough act, I agree with you. The provisions are much more stricter, and more importantly, it needs a painstaking effort to gather together. Now, of late, we are seeing people liberally taking the judicial process also to get it stayed. In this Senthil Balaji's case, it is literally lot of hurdles ED has to cross. 2 years, lot of evidence must have got destroyed. They got lot of time to prepare. They got lot of time to hide. So, and the state government also has facilitated in a way by using their advocate general. So that also we have to factor in by saying, when these people being part of a ruling government, they use every means at their disposal to make sure that the tracks are covered. So just for the benefit of ED, sir, money laundering is a very serious crime in a nation. The future is going to be more money laundering. We have seen one kinds of cases from 1980. 2020, 30, we are going to see more serious ED cases, money laundering cases. Let us allow ED out of politics. Let the politicians, opposition parties also should be responsible.
Final
because when we start painting ED with the opposition
final
language,
two questions.
People will start losing trust in an institution that is dangerous, sir.
Okay, final two questions. You have been quite outspoken on corruption recently, including what you describe as the DMK files. And you have brought some out in press conferences, highly publicized press conferences, where you have leveled allegations against the Chief Minister of the state, Mr. MK Stalin, and his family particularly. Even today, there has been a charge that has been made by an ally of yours, Mr. EPS, who has come out and linked Mr. Balaji once again to the bigger principles in the DMK government. Now, the DMK and Mr. Stalin have filed a defamation suit against you. Are you confident of proving your claims?
Sir, we have to understand, sir, defamation suit by its nature, these are all lot of money laundering charges, lot of asset increase, sometimes even 50,000 times in the last 40 years, shell companies. So a lot of painstaking work we have done before releasing DMK files part 1. Now, this is a very peculiar case in case of defamation. Normally defamations are very different, but these are all defamation suit for the sake of financial crimes they are fighting. So it is going to be a long process, and we hope and pray the neutral central government agencies also have to act on all the allegations we have made. We have also filed a CBI complaint against Mr. MK Stalin ji for 2010 Chennai Metro Rail scam. We have directly accused him. But very unfortunately, 3 days back, the government of Tamil Nadu has withdrawn the general consent that is given to CBI. So again, that is going to be a circuitous process. We have to approach the court, get it referred to CBI, and again we have to come. So I am very confident, sir, it is going to be a long process. It is not a 1 month, 1 year, or 2 year process. And DMK has got a very strong legal machinery. That is why 3 of their legal lawyers are eminent Rajya Sabha MPs. So it is going to be a long battle, but we are very confident if we have to make Tamil Nadu as a state where corruption is made a movement, then we have to go through all the painful process. We are ready for it, sir.
Okay, my final question to you, sir. The party you allied with has also had a former chief minister who was convicted for corruption. You have said in an interview to Times of India a few days back, and I'm quoting you, many administrations in Tamil Nadu or corrupt former chief ministers have been convicted in courts of law. That is why Tamil Nadu has become one of the most corrupt states. I would say it is #1 in corruption, unquote. Does it not bother you that you're still allied with a party with such a legacy, sir?
Sir, we all have to understand it's a fight, it's a movement we are trying to build in Tamil Nadu against corruption. At the same time, I think it is really not nice on my part to talk about individuals. I've also mentioned in a press meet yesterday in a subsequent statement, I hold Madam Jayalalitha in very, very high regard as an administrator, a very courageous woman who had withstood all the tyranny of the DMK for about 40-50 years on her own part. But to build it as a movement, sir, you are in a coalition, you have to talk about a lot of things. It's a very fine, thin line you are walking. You got to respect your partner who is sailing along with you. At the same time, 2024, you got to make sure that all the seats have to come to Modi ji. The opposition votes against DMK's misrule should not get split among us. So a lot of things, but the fight against corruption is on, sir.
So you're not committing yourself, but you're suggesting that your stance will be determined by political calculations. Well, Mr. Annamalai, that will seem as a not very straightforward response to me on this issue. Let's hope. Yes. No, what were you saying? You were raising a hand. Okay.
No, sir. This I have to clarify. No, it's not about political stand.
Right.
You have to understand it's a very fine, thin line you have to walk, sir. Party Karyakarta, you are in a coalition. 2024, Modi ji has to come back to power. And you have to make it a people's movement. Till it becomes a people movement, you might not get support on the ground. It will only between political talk. You have to build a movement. You have to create an organization like that. It's a long, broad battle. We are trying to do it without any doubt, sir. That I can answer for the time being, sir.
And are you willing to go it alone if it takes that, if it comes to that rather?
Sir, we have to understand, sir, the joy in politics or the courageousness in politics is to deliver results, sir. And that is why politics, we say, it is one of the very toughest thing to do in life is being a politician, because you have to look at so many things, and there is a conscience that you have, there is a party's conscience. And for Tamil Nadu, for the very first time we see this Dravidian, especially the DMK threshold can be broken. For the very first time we see in 2024 Modi ji is going to sweep Tamil Nadu. So a lot of things we have to see, sir.
Okay.
At this stage of time, very respectfully I can say, the fight against corruption will go on no matter what.
Well, best of luck to you, Mr. Annamalai. Thank you for very patiently taking very direct questions, taking the tough questions, the hard questions. Viewers, I leave it to you to judge whether he has been convincing or not. Thank you very much.